Hey there, drivers. We've got a major rule change that was implemented and is affecting cross-border freight. I'm talking about the English Proficiency test that's rippling through the industry. English Proficiency enforcement is now full throttle.
You heard it right. We're not talking simple caution. We're talking out-of-service orders, big fines, and serious headaches for drivers who can't express themselves in English at scale houses, weigh stations, or random roadside checks.
Christmas in July? Hardly. More like compliance winter. Let's dig into the drills, the impact, and what you need to know, and especially with some CDL training schools that are really scamming the law. There are some truck driving schools out there that are basically scamming the American public and skirting government regulation. It's all well and good to teach folks how to drive a big truck in a legal and responsible manner. However, it's a totally different thing to attempt to skirt the law by teaching prospective new drivers that don't speak English how to beat the English Proficiency test by simply memorizing a few key phrases. First up, let's roll to Driving Academy in Linden, New Jersey, and GTR Trucking School in Detroit, Michigan. Wannabe truck drivers are out practicing close-quarter maneuvers, then diving deep under hoods, checking hoses, lights, steering components. All the while, they are literally speaking out loud what they see.
Yeah, and it's not just wrench talk about the proper way to do a PTI. Instructors are bouncing between Spanish and English, making sure students speak the rehearsed lines they'd need to know during a roadside inspection. Checking tire pressure. They say, my tire pressure is 80 psi.
At GTR, instructor Al Miftiu, an immigrant from Albania, puts together phrase books to help non-English speakers use canned phrases to questions. Here's an example. I inspected coolant level, no leaks. And they practice that same phrase over and over.
It ain't flashcards or apps. They're doing live drills as if they're at a scale house or at an inspection site. But in truth, it's simply not the same as being able to speak and understand the English language.
In Linden, New Jersey, instructor Paul Cuartas glides seamlessly between languages. First, he explains procedures in Spanish, then tells the student to repeat it in English. And they use printed scripts from the Federal Training Toolkit.
Manuel Castillo, an immigrant from Ecuador, says it's tough, not the pronunciation, but speaking in the moment. He's using ESL apps and YouTube videos to study terms like lug nuts and headlamp aim.
That real-world test. In a real roadside check, there are no cue cards and no translation apps. You've got to respond in English on the spot. Let's break down FMCSA's actual test from the 2025 Enforcement Guide. They'll start with an English-only interview. Where do you start? Where are you headed? How long have you been driving today? Then they'll ask the driver to identify highway signs from a set. What does that sign mean?
And take note, they are outlawing interpreters. No apps allowed, and no flashcards at the inspection scene allowed. It's either you speak English or you get parked.
Fail either interview or sign test, and the driver is put out of service. Even if your brakes are fine, your rig stays parked until resolved. That's huge. Is this English Proficiency crackdown all talk with no proof? Nope. Overdrive reported a driver placed out of service in Utah, not for equipment issues, but English test failure. He'd been reading signs using a phone translator during inspections, but federal inspectors said, nope, you're done.
He had mechanicals fine, but failed the English interview. Now he's parked till he nails English Proficiency. It's always kind of bothered me that here in the United States, everything from ATMs to phone prompts start off with the saying, press 1 for English, press 2 for Spanish. I have often wondered if I were to go to Mexico or any predominant Spanish-speaking country, if they would have the same press 1 for Spanish, press 2 for English prompts or not.
Good question, Bernie. To that end, and to answer your question, I consulted Mr. Google, and this is the reply I got. While it's common in the United States to have a press 1 for English, press 2 for Spanish prompt, this is not the standard in Spanish-speaking countries. Things that make you wonder, right? Meanwhile, at weigh stations in Texas and Colorado, at least 2 Spanish-only drivers were given out-of-service orders. Hold on to your hats, my friends. This gets serious. FMCSA and DOT issue fines when carriers hire unlicensed or not competent drivers. Driver-level fines are now up to $2,500 per violation, and carrier-level fines up to $10,000 per violation.
There was one case reported by 9 News in Colorado about a CDL expired driver that caused a crash. Company was fined, driver hit with misdemeanor DUI charges.
And in the Permian Basin, a year-long audit found 350 wrecks involving unlicensed drivers. Authorities said companies basically treated these fines like cost of doing business.
That all stops once word gets out and CSA scores link to fewer contracts for those trucking companies that keep hiring non-CDL licensed drivers and non-English speaking drivers. No shipper wants to haul with those.
Since June 25th, CVSA inspectors have full out-of-service authority, no soft citations, no exemptions.
The FMCSA has a checklist site that describes the process. They interview drivers with at least 3 questions, and then the driver must show sign recognition and what they mean. Signs like stop, yield, and low clearance. Fail the first, they cut your sticker. Fail the second, the company that hired you better send an English-speaking driver to pick up the rig that was put out of service.
FreightWaves did a study that concludes that northbound dry van rates shot up by about $1 per mile, and overall is now nearly $4 per mile. Do the math. Fewer eligible drivers means fewer available trucks, which means the supply and demand of the freight market is tilted in the legal driver's direction, which is a damn good thing in my view.
And Sonar reports up to a 29% tender rejection increase. Fleets are cherry-picking and hiring drivers they're confident can pass the English test. Does this mean trucking companies being more responsible? If so, that's a good thing as well.
We're talking actual market movement here. Quality drivers get rewarded. Overdrive polls show 94% support for enforcement of the English proficiency testing.
Transport Topics and Fleet Owner highlight the importance of the English-speaking mandate as it relates to safety prevention. They use the example of cutting way back on the amount of low-clearance crashes due to non-English speakers misunderstanding traffic signs.
Meanwhile, CCJ says some fleets are revising non-domicile CDL policies with their human resources departments. They are adding new clauses and compliance training. So what should trucking companies do, big or small, to help balance out the need for drivers, but yet still be compliant with federal mandate laws? Here is a suggested 5-point plan. Screen early. Do an English interview during hiring and be strict. Train. For those that understand English but speak with broken English, offer language classes and recorded scripts or apps for them to practice with. Document. The safety department should log all interviews, ensure there is a signed record trail, and issue completion certificates as an incentive for the drivers. If your company handles routes near the borders of the United States, it's a good idea to reevaluate all cross-border routes if they require English-speaking drivers. The very best way to stay out of trouble with law enforcement is to review your hiring policies to include explicit English proficiency standards, and you must be strict in raising your hiring standards.
If you're a solo driver that understands English but needs to get better at it, practice speaking English in general, listen to audiobooks in English while driving or in your sleeper, ask your wife or buddy to quiz you.
The bottom line is this: the rule is here and has always been here. It's the law. Under previous administrations, the English proficiency rule was basically ignored. No more.
Have you seen any non-English drivers getting shut down? What are your thoughts on this subject? Leave us a comment below and tell us about it.
If this helped you, please smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring that notification bell for more driver first trucking updates.
Keep your mirrors clean, that shiny side up, and keep your English sharp, and we'll see you on the back haul.
Take care, my friend. Keep that left door closed and drive safe.